Yo, welcome into another edition of Saints Now by Chat Sports. We are live on the channel. I hope you guys are ready to dive in to some OTA discussion. We got some takeaways, we got players and matchups to watch, and a whole lot more in today's video. But if you love the New Orleans Saints, do me a favor and give me a who dat in the comments section. We already got 35 people hanging out with us. Jerry G is rocking and rolling. Queen Courtney, Lord Buddy Bear, Marshall, Duncan, all get in the comment section rolling. Kirk Bourne, I would love to get T. Higgins. I would love to get T. Higgins as well. Rabia is saying who dat. Jerry G's giving me a who dat. We got to give a special shout out to Queen Courtney herself. Sent in a $10 super chat before we even got the show started. Said, what up, Trace? I'll be on a little bit later. My daughter has a soccer game. No worries, Queen Courtney. I hope you guys have a really good time at the game. I hope your daughter's soccer game ends with you eating a W and with your daughter scoring 25, 30 goals. That would be absolutely awesome. Thank you so much for your donation, Courtney. I also see you typing who dat in the comments section. Jerry G's asking, how are you? I'm doing fell. I woke up feeling dangerous, Jerry. But let me know if you love the Saints by typing who dat. We got Adana saying, hey. We got Uncle Deuce saying, who dat? Shane, how about Xavier Howard? I'm okay on Xavier Howard, to be honest. Maybe, but I'm okay. Does Xavier Howard play lots? He play much slot? I don't think he does. That's really what we need. I think we're good on outside corners, but maybe if he can play in the slot. Jeremy Gates saying, what up, homie? And then we got Jeremy also saying, aside, go Mavs and go Stars. Hey, let's go Stars. Let's frickin' go, baby. I also do live in Dallas. I grew up a Mavs fan, so let's go Mavs. I'm not much of a hoops guy, but my two teams are the Mavs and the Pels. Shout out to Chase. Shout out to Tedra. Shout out to Teo. And shout out to 504 saying, to the bowl saying, who dat? Love to see it. Love to see it. All right, I want you to get in the comment section also and grade this roster for the New Orleans Saints Madden style. Like, I don't want you copying what the Madden rating is, but if you had to rate them, what would it be? I'm going to roll with like 82. Madden would say it's like a 78, but I'm going to go 82. I think that it's a good roster with good players. We don't know exactly how they're going to play together with a new offense, so maybe that'll lead to some better play for them, and maybe that'll lead to me with a better grading, but I'm going to go with an 82. Jeremy's rolling with an 85. Jerry going 89. Warrior 86. Shane says 82 offense, 85. He says 82 offense, 85 defense, 86 overall, I think is what he's saying. Tedra, I have to see it to give you a grade. I totally understand that. Jeremy Gates says when we sign Justin Simmons a 90. Yeah, when we sign Justin Simmons, I'm bumping mine up a handful of points as well. 81 to 83 on offense and 85 on defense from LeChucky. 81 offense, 86 defense from Adana. I honestly, I think we're all kind of on the same page. It's lower to middle 80s, I think, is a fair grade to give the Saints. Rabia going 86. If you can't wait for the New Orleans Saints season to get underway, give me a thumbs up hit the thumbs up icon and give me a like on this video. We're currently at 57 people hanging out with us. 14 likes. I want to get to 25 likes before we even get this show started. So help me out. Like the video if you're pumped up to see the black and gold play some real football, a new offense. Chris Olave year 3, Rashid Shaheed year 3, A.T. Perry year 2, Brian Brzee year 2, Kendre Miller year 2. It's going to be an absolute, just massive day. It's going to be massive days every Sunday. It's going to be really, really fun. I think it's going to be a really successful season. I hope it's a successful season at least, but we'll have to see. A handful of weeks until we get to see more practices and more training camp, and then we get the preseason. Before you know it, we're in December, and we're talking about draft stuff again. So it's going to come before you know it. We're at 28 likes. That means we can break down what's coming up on today's live show. We are currently live here on Saints Now by Chat Sports, and here's what we're going to be discussing in the video. First things first, we're going to discuss the training camp and OTA battles to watch and to monitor. There's already been some chatter, and there's already been some stuff that's gone down at OTAs and whatnot. And it's only been one day, really 2 days so far, so it's kind of hard to tell who's going to be starting. But I also think that there's going to be some surprising changes to the depth chart. So we're going to go through what I think those will be as well. And then as always, we will end today's video with one of my favorite segments here at Chat Sports, and it is a mailbag. So if you want to get on the show, use hashtag Saints or send in a super chat like Queen Courtney did. And I'll tell you this, fun fact, I got a dog. I adopted a dog, and when we get to $50 in super chats in total, I will show you a picture of my dog. And every time we get $50, I give him an extra treat today. So if you want to help me spoil my little buddy and spoil my little guy, send in a super chat. And it also goes a long way because it helps him get some new toys, some new dog food, and all that fun stuff. I take good care of him, I promise. I take good care of him. But we want you guys to be a part of it. He's the Saints Now pup. He's the Chat Sports dog. So he's going to be hopefully hanging out with us for some watch parties this year. I'd love to bring him into the studio. He's really well behaved, doesn't really pee too much inside. So, if we can get that squared away before the fall comes around, I wonder if I can convince the bosses to let me bring him in for a day. That would be a lot of fun. All right. So when we get this thing rocking and rolling, we're going to start off with training camp and OTA battles to watch and to monitor because I think some really important things are going to be going down this offseason. And on top of that, hashtag Saints or send in a super chat to ask a question and to get my dog some new toys. Zips, whenever you are ready, my friend, we can get this thing going. And without further ado, let's break it all down. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing some battles to watch for very specific players in some different positions of importance for the New Orleans Saints because I think there's a lot of training camp battles, a lot of positional battles that are going to shake things up for New Orleans this year. So I'm going to go through a handful of those in today's video. But guys, I got a dog. His name is Dude. He's rocking the Saints bandana. I took a little photo shoot with him the other day. So this is my formal announcement to Saints Now by Chat Sports. I got a dog. His name is Dude, and he's an absolute homie. He's actually black and gold fur. It's pretty cool. Absolutely love it. So if you want to get updates on my dog, subscribe today. And the more subscribers we get, I think the more treats my dog gets. You see what I'm saying? So if you want to help me spoil my special guy, subscribe today. Also get some Saints news and rumors on top of that. So here's kind of the main position battles I'm going to discuss in today's video. We're going to start off with the left guard. We're going to discuss some wide receivers. We're going to talk about the QB2 battle. And on top of that, we're going to talk about who's going to be the starting safety alongside Tyrann Mathieu. So let's kick things off with the left guard battle. So it's going to be Nick Saldiveri, Lucas Patrick, and Kyle Hergel. So right now, this is what the offensive line at OTAs the first session was in terms of the starters. So you had Talise Fuanga line up on the left side as the left tackle, Trevor Penning over on the right side as the right tackle. And then you have Nick Saldiveri holding it down at the left guard spot. He is projected, in my opinion, to be the starter for left guard. And Cesar Ruiz on the opposite. And Shane Lamo, he also got some run with the ones as well. Now, in terms of the starting left guard, I do think that it's going to be Nick Saldiveri. Lucas Patrick is an experienced player in the league, but it's not really been great experience, and he hasn't really been that good, to be quite honest, according to PFF at least. And I do think Saldiveri has a lot of really good traits. When he was coming out of college, he was, one of the things that he was so highly praised for was his durability and how well he's able to move around over the field. Now, obviously, we didn't get a lot of playtime from him last year because there was some injuries and because there was, the fact that he was a rookie. But I think that he didn't have a lot of pressure on him last year. He's able to develop. And I think that if he can shine in OTAs and in training camp, Saldiveri will be your starting left guard. But I want you to be the head coach for me. What do you think the starting offensive line will look like? Will Penning be the left tackle, Talise Fuanga on the right side? Will it be a different left guard? I want you to put yourself in the shoes of Klint Kubiak and Dennis Allen and let me know what you think the offensive line is going to look like for week 1. So in terms of the quarterback 2 battle, it's no mystery here. It's Jake Haener versus Spencer Rattler. Derek Carr is your QB1. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But let's go through what Haener and what Rattler were able to accomplish yesterday in day 1 of OTAs. And then in terms of just what media has been noticing about these specific players. So And with Jake Haener, he actually got to work with the second team, so he was working with the backups, not the third stringers. In team drills, he went 7 for 8 and 3 for 4 and 7-on-7s. And on top of that, he was showing really good footwork, really nice accuracy. The timing was there. The precision was there. He was fitting balls into tight windows, double giggity. And on top of that, he was, adjusting well on whenever he had some, things happen, I guess you could say. The play of the day, it was when Jake Haener, I almost said Derek Carr. When Jake Haener, he hit A.T. Perry on a ball, tipped it to himself, came down with two hands before he had, hit the ground. So that was a really good play. And then on top of that, was able to connect with Chris Olave in a very, very tight window after the snap was high, and he was able to corral it in and get the throw off. But let's talk about Spencer Rattler, the player that I think is probably the most intriguing, most tantalizing guy in the offseason for the black and gold this year. He got run with the third team. So he was working with the third stringers. That's no surprise there. He's a rookie. I'm not really too shocked about that. I wouldn't read too much into that. But in terms of how he played with the team, 4 for 8 in team drills, and he was 1 for 4 in 7-on-7, so definitely could be a lot better. He did have some slower pace. Not a lot of motion was used whenever they were going through the drills with Spencer Rattler, and that is worth noting. I think they're trying to keep it very basic for him, instill parts of the offense, and move on. Instill it, perfect it, move on. Install it, perfect it, move on. I think that's kind of the route they're going with here. He did throw a interception on a kind of bad throw, and then almost threw a second one pretty quickly after that on a tipped pass, but ended up coming to the ground. So I do think that Rattler has some work to do. So that's why I'm going to say Jake Haener, in my opinion, is going to be your QB2 for this year. And I think that this battle is going to be longer than just this offseason. I don't think we're going to figure out who's going to be the long-term quarterback. Well, at least definitely not this year. But the backup quarterback could. This is a battle it's going to take throughout the regular season as well, and possibly even into next offseason. At the end of the day, we're looking at who's going to take over for Derek Carr in the long term as well. And maybe Haener has some things to prove. And all the reports were coming out there says, do not sleep on Jake Haener. Do not count him out quite yet, because he came to play, and you guys could see on the screen a little bit ago that the impact that he's making at OTAs is really positive. So let's talk about the wide receivers. And, in that first graphic we discussed, it was wide receiver 2 and wide receiver 3. So for wide receiver 2, I'm kind of go between Rashid Shaheed and A.T. Perry. But for wide receiver 3, I'm between Cedric Wilson and Bub Means. Now, here's how the wide receiver depth chart shakes out right now. I think that Chris Olave is going to have another 1,000-yard season. I do believe that A.T. Perry is going to be the wide receiver 2, because I think Rashid Shaheed is better as a slot guy and as a burner, and I don't know if he has the route tree to truly be a wide receiver 2 in the league. I'm not saying he can't, but in my opinion, I think A.T. Perry is the better receiver, and I think Rashid Shaheed is a really good weapon. So in terms of wide receiver 2 and wide receiver 3, I'm going to go with A.T. Perry as the number 2 and Cedric Wilson as the 3, because he actually is familiar with the offensive package and what they're doing because of his time in Miami with Mike McDaniels, who also is a product of Kyle Shanahan, just like Klint Kubiak, So I think that he's going to get some run, and he's going to be a big part of, getting the offensive weapons, especially the wide receivers, familiar with this offense. And I think that he can be a somewhat decently reliable player, to be a wide receiver 3. And this doesn't mean I hate Rashid Shaheed. This doesn't mean that I hate Bub Means. This just means that I think that they have other roles set aside for them. That's not, you're the wide receiver 2. I think also for Bub Means, we're not going to see a ton of them this year. I've done a lot of talk, and I've done a lot of pushing an agenda around Bub Means. However, I do think that he's going to get very limited run in year 1, similar to kind of how A.T. Perry was used, where sure, he came on the field and was productive and was really, really flashy when he was on the field, but didn't get a ton of production, especially until later in the season. And that's okay. I want to emphasize one thing. That is okay that Bub Means doesn't come in and is the wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 3 right off the bat. That is totally fine. We live in a microwave society now where everyone expects results in less than 2 minutes. That's not going to happen in the NFL. It never has, and it never will. So it's okay to let your players develop and to turn into better weapons and better athletes. So I think that that's going to be a really good thing for Bub Means. But I want to ask this question. Which one is the more electric player? Which one is the flashier player? Which one do you think has the better highlights? Give me AT for A.T. Perry or type Sheed for Rashid Shaheed in the comment section. Now, the strong safety battle, it's going to be Jordan Howden versus Jonathan Abram. You do have Tyrann Mathieu as your starting free safety as we take a look at the depth chart right now for the black and gold. JT Gray, great player there. He's going to be I'm expecting another good season for him in the black and gold. But I do think that Millard Bradford and Lawrence Johnson have a possible role here. Maybe Millard Bradford can earn a spot on the roster because he can play down in the slot and he can play on the inside in close to the line. But I do think that it's going to come down to who's going to be better on the field with Tyrann Mathieu. And I think Jordan Howden is going to win the starting strong safety spot. But I will say this. We remember last year, Jonathan Abram got a lot of run at the end of the season. He actually played pretty well. So I think that that's something that we need to consider. If he struggles early, that is okay. Do not freak out. It's year 2 for Jordan Howden. So if there's some early blown plays, if there's some missed tackles, if there's a just horrible coverage in weeks 1, 2, or 3, don't call for his job. Don't say he needs to get cut. Don't freak out. It's okay because Jonathan Abram, I do think, can serve as a starting safety, while they work out the kinks for Jordan Howden. Now we got some more battles to watch and battles to monitor throughout OTAs, but I wanted to show you guys these hats as the weekend is almost here. On top of that, you got a lot of holidays coming up this summer. This weekend, you got Memorial Day. So if you're going to be hanging out by the pool, if you're going to be hanging out at the bar, if you're going to be on Bourbon Street or walking down Canal, go get yourself a new Saints hat. Go to chatsports.com/Saints hats. That link is in the comment section description of this video. The hats that we showed on screen aren't the only ones we have available. They come from Fanatics, but if you use our link, it lets Fanatics know that we sent you, and it goes a long way to support the show. So just go get geared up with the link that's in the comments and description of this video. So we got some other matchups to watch. I'm just going to kind of speed run through these ones. Running back 2, I think it's a very open job. Jamal Williams did not play well last year. Part in due to the scheme and how he was used and, a bad offensive line, but also partially because he just didn't play well. And I think Kendre Miller showed a lot of flashes. He ended the season on such a high note, and I think that right now it's Jamal Williams as running back 2, but Kendre Miller, do not be surprised if he beats him out to take over that position. And don't be surprised that the Saints may possibly move on from Jamal Williams, whether it's a cut or a trade. So for fullback, I want to talk about Adam Prentice versus Xander Horvath. I think that Prentice is, he's done fine. He's been okay for the Saints. He's been good enough for New Orleans for past handful of seasons. But, Xander Horvath offers some new weapons and some new skill sets. And he's a much better receiver than Adam Prentice is. And on top of that, I go back to last season and the fumbles that Prentice had. Like, they were very untimely and they were in very bad situations. And I think that if you have Horvath in the roster, you can use him similar to a Kyle Juszczyk, because I know how much Klint Kubiak loved to scheme up Juszczyk as a receiving fullback as well. So CB3, Alontae Taylor versus Kool-Aid McKinstry. And I'm not talking about who's the slot, who's going to play on the inside. I'm more so talking about who's going to be the third guy on the outside. Because we all know, on both sides, Marshon Lattimore, Paulson Adebo. That is not changing, nor should it change. If you don't like Paulson Adebo, I don't know what the hell to tell you, because he's fucking good at football. Now, in terms of Alontae Taylor and Kool-Aid McKinstry, I think that McKinstry is much more suited to be on the outside, and I think that Taylor is a better player on the outside. However, Dennis Allen still has some hope and some faith in Alontae Taylor to develop into the interior slot nickel cornerback for New Orleans. So we'll see how that pans out, and we'll see how that goes. But I do think that it's important for the Saints to identify who's going to be that third guy on the outside. Now, for the kickers, we're special teams, special players, special plays. Blake Grupe, he actually played pretty well at OTAs in the first session, and it's his job to lose. Quite frankly, it's his job to lose. He did not play great at times, but then there was also some weeks where he was just automatic and literally just couldn't make a mistake. So it's going to be kind of a tough read. I think Charlie Smith has an upfield battle for him, but he does have a hell of a boot, and he has really good control over the ball. And I just remember the clip that I've shown on the show and that I posted on the show and I posted on my social medias. Charlie Smith nailing a 60-yard field goal, bending it like Beckham, and going right down the middle, splitting the uprights. Now, the last one is Matthew Hayball, the UDFA punter out of Vanderbilt that New Orleans brought in, and Lou Hedley, the punter that the Saints had last year. I know Saints fans were not happy with Hedley because he didn't have the boot to absolutely flip the field, but the net yards for Hedley is what was a big-time saving grace for him. And the fact that he had one of the highest percentages of downing balls inside the 5, inside the 10, and inside the 20-yard line. So I think that Lou Hedley does have the ability to make this roster, and I do think that he has some talent in terms of a punter. He's not going to flip the field, but he's not going to give the opposing team a great a great ability to return the ball, and he's also not going to give the opposing or the return team good field position if he can get it down inside the 20. But if you're excited for the 2024 season, type me in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If there's any matchups that I missed that you're excited about, let me know in the comment section. And as always, y'all stay golden. We'll see you next time. Booyah. So who's the more electric player, A.T. Perry or Rashid Shaheed? I think that I might... I'm only saying Rashid Shaheed because I've seen 2 seasons of his crazy plays. I do think that A.T. Perry's rookie season was more electric than Rashid Shaheed's rookie season, in my opinion. However, it's pretty hard to argue against Rashid Shaheed, considering the first 2 touches were touchdowns, and almost his 3rd touch in the NFL ever was a touchdown. So that was pretty cool. But yeah. We got Jeremy Gates, Mikey Taylor, Ted Davis, Gary V, DeQuarius, all excited for the 2024 season. I'm pumped up to see this year as well. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think there's going to be a lot of cool stuff happening with the black and gold. I think that this team is going to be much better than they were last year, and we'll have to see how things pan out. But fingers crossed. Fingers crossed indeed. Really quickly, could you pop up the player 3 rank that I have for this next segment? Because I messed up on that last one. Perfect. That's perfect. Okay, cool. I'm going to flip it. Yeah, I messed that up on the graphics last time. All right, guys. Ted Davis says he likes A.T. Perry. I love A.T. Perry, man. He's so fun. Scary Perry is what I've been calling him. Also, we did get a super chat. So if you guys want to help me, if you want to give my dog a little treat, I would encourage you to send in a super chat. Because every time we get $50 in total, I'm giving my dog a new treat and a new toy tonight. So big fan of special teams. I've seen more people being a fan of Charlie Smith than Blake Groupie. What's your thoughts on the kicker and punter position battles? Shane, this was sent in right as we started the segment. So just to kind of put a spark notes on it, I think that it's Blake Groupie's job to lose, but I do think that Charlie Smith is going to challenge him big time. Groupie looked good. He was a rookie last year, so give him a little bit of grace on some of those missed kicks and some of those moments that he wasn't able to capitalize in. For the punter, Hayball has a much better boot, and he's going to flip the field, but Hedley does have a lot of value in terms of the net yards, the amount of times he can down it inside the 20 and inside the 5 and 10. Those are things that are really important, and Dan Rizzi values really highly. And honestly, Dan Rizzi's a hell of a good defensive or a special teams coach. So I'm going to trust his judgment. I'm going to just trust it. I'm going to go with it. If Hayball turns out to be some insane punter and the Saints go with Lou Hedley and Hayball goes sign somewhere else and is a punter, a generational punter, well, shit. But I don't see that happen in this case. Who do you think is going to be our starting offense? Well, Aquarius, actually, we're about to go through that. We're actually about to go through who I think is going to be the starting offense and starting defense and the starting special teams. So there you go. So if you have any questions, hot takes, or anything like that, use hashtag Saints or send in a super chat to get on the program. We're going to be doing the mailbag here in about 15 minutes. So get your questions in now. And also, friendly reminder, if you want to help me give my dog some treats, if you want to help me give my dog some new toys, feel free to send in a super chat because, he's the cutest puppy ever. How could you not want to do that? He's so damn cute. I mean, if I could give money to a guy named Dude, I would. Mikey! What's up, Mikey? We got that $10 super chat coming in from the legend himself. Hot take, Chris Olave breaks MT's catching record this year. Ooh, that is a hot take, but I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I'll say this. If Chris Olave has 150 catches, that means Derek Carr is having an MVP season. Just going to put it out there because other guys are going to need the ball too. Other guys are going to, Chris Olave will be covered. Teams will adjust if he starts off hot. If that happens, holy shit, that'd be awesome. I'm not saying it won't because I think it could happen, but that would also mean Derek Carr is playing at an MVP type level. Maybe not an MVP, but he's playing very, very quality football. That's kind of my point. All right, so let's break down the changes to the depth chart and to the starting lineup. And we're going to talk a lot today. Shane! So Shane asking this question. Rumors are that Michael Thomas could come back. Thoughts? So I actually put out a whole video about 10, 15 minutes of me breaking down Michael Thomas's return specifically. It went out, what's today? Wednesday. Yesterday. It was yesterday's video. No, it was Monday's video. I broke it down on Monday's video. Talked about the possibility. I don't think it'll happen. My thought is it's not a return and a reunion will not happen this year. It will not happen next year. But maybe when Michael Thomas is close to retiring and he's like, you know what? New Orleans was the best city to me. The team was the best to me. I want to do right by them and I want to do right by myself and have one more little last dance run. I think that's kind of all we can expect. I don't think Michael Thomas is coming back. The bridge hasn't been burned. It's been absolutely nuked, demolished, and now it's has stronger security than an airport, I guess. Yeah, that has a lot of security. So there you go. All right, let's break it all down. And then we got a mailbag coming up, so you get your questions in, #Saints, or send in a super chat. Whenever you're ready, Seeps, let's get it crack-a-lackin'. Coming up in today's video here on Saints Now by Chat Sports, we got some surprising changes to the New Orleans Saints depth chart after OTAs and as training camp does approach here at the end of July. But if you can't wait for the Saints 2024 season to get here, I need you to sound off and like today's video. If we get over 500 likes, I'll tell you what, I think that the Saints are going to hear our voices. They're going to see what we're saying, and they're going to make things happen for us and get back to the postseason. So don't jinx it. Let's like this video up, and let's get back to the playoffs, baby. So the first thing I want to discuss, bringing in Klint Kubiak, huge. It's going to be very, very impactful for this offense. It's going to help out Derek Carr. It's going to help out Alvin Kamara. It's going to help out the offensive line. The defense will benefit from it. The kickers will benefit from it. I think that bringing in Klint Kubiak will be one of the more underrated moves in the NFL this offseason that people do not discuss here in September and October. So I really like the addition of bringing in Klint Kubiak, and I think that I just wanted to start off today's show by just, further indulging in a really good move by the black and gold. But starting at quarterback, you got Derek Carr. No surprises here. He is under contract. He's going to be your starter this year, more than likely next year, depending on how he plays. But I do think that Carr still shows a lot of really good stuff. Now, obviously, he's not Drew Brees. And if you're expecting him to be Drew Brees, it's very, very unfair. And I'm somebody who's extremely critical of DC4. But I also think that the offense last year was so stale. Pete Carmichael did him no favors. He had to deal with Michael Thomas's off-the-field stuff. I'm not trying to create a bunch of excuses for Derek Carr. He's a 10-year, 11-year vet at this point, so, figure it out. But there is also, the fact that he may have not been dealt the best hand. I will say this, though. Alvin Kamara, like I said a little bit ago, he's going to be a big-time beneficiary for having Klint Kubiak be the offensive coordinator. He's a really, really good player, and I think he still has a lot of juice. Now, he's definitely taken some steps back in terms of the player he once was a handful of seasons ago, but that doesn't mean that he's still not a smart and effective running back. I think that he can still be very impactful on the offense. At the end of the day, not even on the field, just solely talking about him in the locker room, the Saints need a guy like Kamara. They need somebody who's going to be a leader, who's going to hold people accountable, and who's not just going to talk the talk, they're going to walk the walk as well. So I'm really excited for Alvin Kamara this year with Klint Kubiak. But here's how the wide receivers are going to shake out. I think this is actually going to be the final wide receiver group. After training camp, after OTAs, after all the offseason stuff is done. I think Chris Olave, obviously, wide receiver 1. I think Rashid Shaheed is going to be your slot guy, and I think A.T. Perry will be your wide receiver 2. I do think Cedric Wilson is going to make the roster. I think he has a really good chance to be a somewhat impactful wide receiver 3, if you will. Bub Means, I expect him to make the roster as well. I think he's not going to have a massive role, similar to kind of what A.T. Perry was last year. Well, he'll come in, he'll show some flashes, but it's not going to be a ton. I think Kyle Sheets has a really good chance to make the roster. I mean, he's a really, really big-bodied guy, had really nice production at Slippery Rock last year, over 1,000 yards. And on top of that, the Saints need a big-bodied X receiver. And the two questions I have for this group is, who is going to be that X receiver and who is going to be wide receiver 2? Who's going to step up to the plate? Who's going to hold that responsibility on their shoulders? And who's going to be the guy who's the main support behind Chris Olave? Could it be Rashid Shaheed? It could be. Could it be A.T. Perry? Possibly. Bub Means? Who knows? But if you want to get more news, give me a follow on social media at Trace Girouard 48 on Twitter /X, at Trace Girouard 48 _ for Instagram. That's my Saints specific Instagram. And then on top of that, you can subscribe to Saints Now. We have over 27,000 followers, trying to reach 28K ASAP. And if you haven't subscribed for Saints news and updates, then you better subscribe if you think this dog is cute. Now, if you think it's the ugliest dog in the world, shut your damn mouth and don't let me know, because that's my dog. Isn't he adorable? His name is Dude. But if you think he's cute, subscribe. If you aren't subscribing, you clearly hate puppies. You clearly are the crazy cat lady. And on top of that, you think dogs just stink. So clearly they don't. Clearly he's a homie. I mean, he's rocking a Saints bandana. He's a homie. Subscribe for my dog, Dude. So let's talk about the tight end room. I think that this is going to be the tight ends that they roll with. I think that they're going to actually field 4 players like they did last year, basically replacing Jimmy Graham with Dallin Holker. Now, Juwan Johnson, I expect to have a better year than he did last year. Foster Moreau was decent whenever he was called on situationally. He did have some good moments, but it's hard to forget that drop on Thursday Night Football against the Jags. Taysom Hill, I don't even have him listed as a tight end because he got work with the fullbacks. He got work with the tight ends. He runs the ball. He throws the ball. He catches the ball. He blocks punts. He's on kick return. Like, he just does everything. So literally by the definition of the flex player in fantasy football, I'm just going to list Taysom Hill as a flex because, I mean, what can't he do? But I do think that Dallin Holker makes this roster, and I think that he is going to have a nice impact, and I think that he's going to have a nice role cut out for him. Especially in the long term, I think that it does develop, and I think that it does turn into more. And on top of that, I think that it's important for Taysom Hill to be used as just a football player. Don't utilize him as a tight end. Don't utilize him as a quarterback. Don't utilize him as a running back. Just let him play football. Give the ball to Taysom, put it in his hands, and let him cook. Dallin Holker also has gotten a lot of run and a lot of talk at Saints OTAs so far, and he's been really, really impressive according to reports. So that's really good news. He also has a lot of guaranteed money as a UDFA, one of the top UDFA additions across the league, so I expect him to make the roster. And on top of that, like I said, Taysom Hill was working with the fullbacks. So here's how the offensive line is currently shaping out. I think that this is what we're going to see for the New Orleans Saints. You could convince me that they'll have another lineman somewhere in there, like a Justin Huron or a Josiah Ezeram, one of those two making the roster. But I also think that there is a spot on the practice squad for a 7th-round player and a free agent that, maybe isn't at the best of his ability anymore. Think Talise Fuanga? Right now, he's been getting a lot of run on the left side. Trevor Penning been getting a lot of run on the right side. And it seems like the fit is there for both of those players. We know Fuanga can play on the right. We know that Penning struggled on the left. So why not try and see if this works? This is the time to do it. This is the time to to test that out rather than in the middle of the season. I also think Nick Saldiveri will earn the starting left guard spot, so we'll have to see how things pan out there. But I want to make this one point very clear. There's nothing set in stone yet. And obviously, a lot of these depth charts that we've been going through are kind of what I'm thinking is going to happen and what I believe will be the case for New Orleans. but I also think that it's worth noting nothing's set in stone. Guys, we're still in the middle of our first OTA session. We're filming this when they have OTA day 2. There's a lot that can change. There's a lot that can happen in New Orleans until week 1 gets here. So we'll have to see how things pan out. But I think so far I'm on a pretty good streak, and I think I'm at least a little bit accurate in terms of what I believe the depth charts will look like when we get to week 1. Now, really quick, I want to tell you guys about Prize Picks before we get back to some more Saints talk. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and plug in that promo code CLNS for a first-time deposit match up to $100. If you download Prize Picks, you can pick more, you can pick less, and you can win real money in real time. I absolutely love that app, and it's my favorite daily fantasy sports app. So if you want to put down some projections on the NFL, if you want to put down some projections on the NBA, MLB, esports, NASCAR, whatever, you can do it at Prize Picks. Now, here are the projections for some rookie players and Derek Henry. You can fade these picks. You can tail these picks. I don't really care what you do. Just make sure you do it with Prize Picks. And make sure you use our link, prizepicks.com/CLNS, and use that code CLNS for a first-time deposit match up to $100. Shout out to Prize Picks. It's daily fantasy sports made easy. All that information is in the comments and description of this video. So I wanted to just kind of set the scene here for the defensive side of the ball as well. We're going to be talking defense. The rest of this video is defense. So if you're not a defensive guy, sorry, the Saints defense is a lot of fun to watch. I do want to give credit to Dennis Allen. I'm very, very critical of the coach, but call a spade a spade. He's damn good at being a defensive coach. Sure, there's times where the team gets beat. Sure, there's time where we get busted coverage and players miss tackles and adjustments don't happen. But I also think that with the current regime and with the current unit and the current players on the defense, it's going to be a much more athletic team, a much more energized team. And I also think that you have plenty of weapons so when one of those guys is struggling, you can pull them out for a little bit, run somebody else into the field in place of them, and get back on track. I think that this team has a really, really good defense, and it all starts in the trenches. The defensive line, I absolutely love this unit. In my opinion, it's not my favorite unit on the defense, but it might be the sexiest looking unit on the defense. Look how handsome Carl Granderson is. Look how good that buzz cut looks on Brian Brzee. Nathan Shepard's hair, makes me feel some type of way. But in all seriousness, this is a really solid defensive line group. I think that Cullen Saunders will be taken over by Brian Brzee to be a starter. Cam Jordan, I think he's going to be more used rotationally and situationally rather than Chase Young. And on top of that, Christian Boyd, I think, will make the roster. He's a really strong player, was really productive in college. And I think that Isaiah Foskey is a guy who also can make the roster. Kind of quiet year 1, but in year 2, Dennis Allen wants to see him, quote, cut it loose. So my challenge to the defense, and it's not just the defensive line, it's the entire defense. Linebackers, safeties, corners, D-line. I want all of you listening here. I want you guys to get 50 sacks. That's my challenge to you. Can we get 50 sacks for the black and gold for the first time since 2019? That's what I want to see. I want to see this team get to the quarterback. I don't want to see them get pressures. I don't want to see them get quarterback hits. I want to see them bring the quarterback down, finish your dinner, and make some plays. In the last handful of years, the Saints defense has always been one of the best at creating sacks and creating pressures, but over the last couple of seasons, they have not been that great. So I want to see the Saints defense get back on track. It starts in the trenches. It starts with getting sacks and pressures. So can we get 50? But place your bets for me, Saints fans. Over or under 49.5 total sacks. So if you think they're going to get 50, give me the over. If you think they're not going to get to 50, type under in the comment section. I'm going to hammer my overs because I'm going to speak it into existence, but I don't hear what you guys have to say down below. So the linebacker room did get a little bit of an upgrade, a little facelift, if you will. Zach Bond is headed to Philadelphia, so the Saints replaced him with Willie Gay, a much more athletic, linebacker, a much more energetic player, better in coverage, maybe not as good at rushing the passer as Zach Bond was, but I think that Willie Gay is going to have a really nice season ahead of him. Demario Davis, I'm excited to see what he can do in another NFL campaign. He's aging like a fine wine, beating Father Time. I should be a rapper. That was bars right there. Pete Werner, I think that he has a lot to prove this year. He could be trying to, not fight for a roster spot, but fight for a starting spot alongside some of these guys you see on your screen here. But I do think that Willie Gay is going to be a really big addition to this group. He adds a lot of speed, he adds athleticism, and he adds energy and swagger and charisma and all of those other adjectives. All those other adjectives that describe a player like Willie Gay. I mean, that's something that's been missing from the Saints defense for a while. Once they get that swagger, once they start jumping around, they're dancing, they're having fun, they're talking shit, that's when the Saints defense is at its best. And I think Willie Gay is going to do just that for the Saints. And on top of that, I think he's going to be very productive as a player as well. So the cornerbacks, I think this is probably the best unit on the team, just in terms of depth and in terms of the players' talent. Paulson Adebo is such a good cornerback. I just don't understand how there's still people out there that are like, no, Paulson Adebo is not that good, or I think Kool-Aid McKinstry should start over Paulson Adebo. I could not agree more, or disagree more. I could not disagree more. Paulson Adebo is damn good. He was actually the best cornerback for the Saints last year. Obviously, Marshon Lattimore missed some time. Alontae Taylor struggled a little bit in the nickel, was much more successful on the outside. But we'll have to see. Can Will Harris hold it down as the cornerback, as the slot corner? Can he beat out Ugo Amadi? Can Kool-Aid McKinstry make a name for himself? We'll have to see what happens here. And the million-dollar question is, who's going to be the starting slot cornerback? I do not want to see the New Orleans Saints, Zach Bond, my Alontae Taylor. There's this whole saying, I live in Texas, don't California my Texas. Don't Zach Bond my Alontae Taylor. Don't put him in the wrong position where he's going to struggle and not play that well, and then let him leave where he's going to be using a much better situation in a much better role, and he'll probably be really damn good. Do not try and force this with Alontae Taylor. He's good on the outside. If you have 4 really good outside corners and you kind of have a hole at the slot, fine. Okay, I will make a compromise there. But don't force this on Alontae Taylor. If it doesn't work, you got to cater to his skill set to be more successful. And on top of that, I don't think Kool-Aid McKinstry should even be considered as a slot. He is definitely an outside corner. He played a lot of outside corner at Alabama. That's where he was his best. And don't reinvent the wheel here. Just keep him at a good position. He's like Marshon Lattimore. He's really damn good on the outside. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But I want you to describe the cornerback room in one word for me. My one word, loaded. I think the Saints cornerback room is absolutely loaded, but I could also have gone like talented. I could have gone nasty. I could have gone deep. Giggity. I've had a lot of those in today's video. Anyway, my one word is loaded. What is your one word? Here's the safety depth chart. We're almost done here in today's video, so just hold tight a little bit longer. I think that Jordan Howden's going to be the starter. I think Tyrann Mathieu obviously will be the starter, and Jonathan Abram will get some run alongside Tyrann Mathieu. I think, honestly, to get things going, it will be kind of a rotation of Howden and Abram. I like JT Gray. I like Millard Bradford. We'll see what Lawrence Johnson can do to make the roster. But I think that the cherry on top for this team and for this offseason as a whole, go sign Justin Simmons. The safety group is fine. It's okay. It's good. But you go get Justin Simmons. I'm not shitting you. You might have the best DB group in the NFL. You got Marshon Lattimore, Paulson Adebo, Alontae Taylor, Tyrann Mathieu, Justin Simmons, Kool-Aid McKinstry. Go sign Justin Simmons. It's not rocket science. Go give him money. Bring him here. Tyrann Mathieu loves the player. He is one of his favorite players in the league. Tyrann Mathieu should go and recruit Justin Simmons to New Orleans. That's what I want to see. Go sign Justin Simmons. Go sign Justin Simmons. One more time, in case you didn't hear it, Mickey Loomis. Go sign Justin Simmons. All right, so let's talk about the kick returners and the return specialists here for New Orleans. I actually think Jermaine Jackson could make the roster here. But I also think Mason Tipton, who had a really, really nice 40 time, I believe it was he was around 4.5, sub 4.5. I mean, I can't remember exactly off the top of my head what his 40-yard dash was, but he is a damn good player for the New Orleans from Yale. He was pretty productive, extremely athletic, and on top of that, he is a player that maybe they like him in the role of the new kickoff rule. He's very, very fast, and I think Rashid Shaheed might not be the starting kick returner, but I do think that he might be the starting punt returner. Jermaine Jackson, I think he goes he's the starting kick returner. I think Shaheed is the starting punt returner because Shaheed was a Pro Bowler as a punt returner, and he was really damn good for the Saints last year. I think Jermaine Jackson does have a spot on this roster similar to Tipton, where maybe they can use him for a return specialist role, just a speedster, kind of like a Deontay Hardy, who can maybe find himself a spot in the depth chart, also similar to how Rashid Shaheed made the roster as well. So I think that any of those three guys, if they're returning punts and they're returning kicks, it's going to be a really good move. And like I said, I do think that Shaheed is going to get less kick returns. I'm not saying returns in general. Kick returns. I think that that's going to be kind of fueled it out for a player that, I'm trying to be nice when I say this, that you're not going to miss as much if you lose him. Like if a player gets hurt, if Rashid Shaheed gets hurt, it's much more impactful than if Jermaine Jackson or Mason Tipton. That's kind of my point here. And I'm not wishing injuries on these guys. I'm doing the exact opposite, actually. But I think that Rashid Shaheed is going to find himself a bigger role as a wide receiver and as a pass catcher and a lesser role as a kick returner, but still be a really nice punt returner specifically. So what do you think, Who Dat Nation? Grade this Saints roster Madden style. Scale it for me 1 to 99. And as always, y'all stay golden. Don't forget to subscribe for my dog, and we'll see you next time. Alrighty, U.S. Champ $10 super chat saying, yo! What up, U.S. Champ? I know U.S. Champ has missed a couple of the live shows, but hey, we still chop it up on social media, so he's still good in my eyes. He's still good in mine. Shout out to you, U.S. Champ. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Gonna just put it out there now. I love my dog so much. Any $10 super chats to come into the rest of the show, he's getting an extra treat tonight. Any $10 super chat, extra treat for my guy, dude. I mean, look how damn cute he is. Isn't he the cutest little thing you've ever seen? I mean, good God. He's hanging out at my apartment right now, probably tearing up his toys, probably being a goofball. He loves Seeps. It's really funny. So Maddie and I were watching a movie last night. And we've noticed this a couple times, but last night it was especially funny. We're watching a movie, and go away. And he props himself up. I don't know if you've been to my apartment, but one of my couches like backs up to a window. Yeah. And so he kind of propped himself up looking out the window, and he was literally doing one of these, just kind of looking around and stuff as dogs do. And then the TV, like, it kind of the colors changed really quick, and so it went from like dark to like really light, and it kind of kept going back and forth. So he went from here to, he kind of like bolted over.
This is attention, everything.
Yeah, and then at one point he kind of looked away and looked back here, and he like saw his reflection. And I'm not kidding. He was frozen like this for like 2 minutes. It was the funniest thing ever.
We need to get him on the show.
We got to get dude on the show.
Or like a live call-in, like somehow like have like a FaceTime.
Dude,
like.
I don't know if Maddie's home. I'll see if Maddie's home, and if Maddie's home. And we can I'll set a super chat goal, and if she's home, we'll FaceTime dude. Let me see where she's at.
Shout out the dude. Get him a
She
treat.
said FaceTime me right now.
There you go.
Okay, here's the deal. If we can we're at $36 in super chats. We will FaceTime Maddie and get to see dude live on the program if we can get to $50.
Come on, fellas.
So we need $15. $15, and you guys can meet my dog, dude. He's actually watching. Maddie just texted me. She's watching the show right now. He's watching, has the show on the living room. He's just tuned in.
Dude's like, why is Dad?
It's like, Dad, I hear and see Dad, but I can't smell him. Where is he? Where's the dog? You know what? We'll run it until. 1 second. Are you gonna be home for like 20 minutes? Sorry, I'm gonna text her, see if we need to FaceTime her now or if we can FaceTime her after the mailbag.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jeremy says, chilling at the doctor's office. Hope all is well with you, JB. John Borelli!
Let's go.
He says, for my guy, dude. Shout out, John. That's dude's grandpa. Dude's grandpa. $10 for my guy, dude. Shout out to you, John Borelli. He gets an extra treat because of you.
Let's go.
He's going to get an extra treat because of JB. And if we get another 5, we're going to FaceTime and bring the dog on the show right now. $5 super chat, and the dog gets on the program. Who wants to see dude?
Come on.
Who wants to meet dude? I will say this: Maddie will be home for a little bit, so we have a few minutes to
All
kill.
right, let's go.
There it is. Gonna be consistent, I promise, but give the dog a treat.
Yes.
I love it. U.S. champ. First things first. It is okay if you missed the show. We actually were talking about this earlier. We always think it's so funny when when our viewers, our subscribers, are like, man, I'm so sorry I missed. Dude, it's okay. It's okay.
Yes,
You're
yes,
just
yes,
tuned
yes.
in. You're a real one, U.S. champ. I appreciate you. He's getting an extra treat because of U.S. champ and John Borelli and Queen Courtney. And because of Mikey Taylor. He says, dude, good boy. All right, let's FaceTime, dude. There you go. Getting the FaceTime going.
Borelli, might just need to give him a whole steak, man.
Oh, yeah, we might need to give him a whole entire steak. All right, Maddie, I'm going to take my headset off and just show dude real quick for me. I'm going to turn the camera around so you can. Yeah,
Here
it's a
we
little
go.
dirty. So dudes, you ready to meet dude?
Let's go.
Hold on.
He's being a brat, as always.
Dude, nope. Stop.
Oh, let's go.
There's the boy. What's up, dudes?
It's got the Saints.
Here, I'll go give him a treat, too.
The dude abides. The dude abides.
Look at the quality on that camera, too. That looks great.
Come on, you want a treat?
There's my dog, dude. He's a homie. We're gonna give him some treats for John Borelli, Mikey Taylor, Queen Courtney, and U.S. champ. So there you go.
Hi.
There you go.
That's a happy
Oh,
boy.
he's stretching.
He's doing a big stretch for the Saints. Dude, give me a who dat. Give me a who dat, dude.
Hey, look. It's Dad.
Hey, buddy. Hey, bud.
He
Look.
hears.
He's like, what is going on right now?
Where's that? Like, literally.
That's hilarious.
That's awesome.
That's so funny. All right, well, we got one more segment to do, and then we're going to hop on out of here. So, Maddie, thank you for FaceTiming in. If we get another $50 super chat, we'll give dude another treat. $10 super chat, I give dude a treat when I get home. $50 super chat, he gets a treat right now.
Right now.
Right now. So, John Borelli, that is your grand dog. That is your grand dog. All right, we do have our mailbag to round the show out. It's one of my favorite segments we do here. Very interactive, very fun, a lot of cool rumors, a lot of just football talk. And you guys get to, navigate the ship, if you will. You're the captain. You are the belle of the ball.
The bell of the
The belle of the ball. Maddie loves when I say that. It's so
bell of the
funny.
ball.
All righty. So if you haven't already, use hashtag Saints. Get your questions in. Has Carr been good at OTAs? Give me 1 second. I can actually tell you exactly what Carr did at OTAs yesterday in terms of team and 7-on-7 drills. So Derek Carr was 7 of 8 in team drills and 3 for 4 in 7-on-7s. I'd say that's pretty solid. No Nathan Peterman yesterday. Yeah. That's that. There you have it. So Carr's been solid at OTAs, I would say. It's only been 1 or 2 days, so again, just keep that in mind. Alrighty, that is pretty solid, U.S. champ. I would agree. Are we good on questions? Cool, yeah. All right, let's get into the mailbag. We're gonna do this. Last chance to send in a super chat afterwards, and then we're gonna hop on out here because Seeps and I got a little bit more content to film because we're content daddies. We make this company a lot of money, and that's just what we do, baby. All righty, Seatman. Whenever you are ready, my friend. Let me get one quick sip of water. All righty. Let's do it for dude. Welcome into Saints Now by Chat Sports. Today's video is going to be a Q&A mailbag where our subscribers are asking us questions as a part of our live show. But if we missed your question or if you missed our mailbag, our live show every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Central Time, feel free to hit me up on Instagram at TraceGirouard48_ and on X/Twitter, TraceGirouard48. The links are in the comment section description of this video. So hit me up if you want more Saints coverage in between these videos. Ted Davis, could the Saints trade for Brandon Ayuk? Could they? It'd be tough. It would be really, really tough. But I think if there's one team that could figure out the financials for it, it's the New Orleans Saints. Kai Harley exists. He is one of the best in the biz, and it's going to be expensive to get Brandon Ayuk. Not just in terms of the trade compensation, but in terms of the contract as well. I would love to see it happen. I don't really even know what it would take. I mean, Seeps, like a first and a couple seconds, or like a first and a third or something. Like, might be tough to get Brandon Ayuk. I would love it. I think it would be a really, really good fit, especially with the familiarity with Kubiak, and it would be a really good compliment to Chris Olave. But I also think that the Saints might not go and make a blockbuster trade at wide receiver. Dude, my dog. What's up, buddy? Can the Saints get anything if they traded Jamal Williams? You know, last year in the preseason, maybe. He was coming off a 17-touchdown year, and a lot of people were very high on Williams after his campaign with the Lions when they were on Hard Knocks, and he had a really good season. I just don't think that they're going to get a lot in return for an aging running back whose production was down last year. Like, it just, calling a spade here. If Williams turns it around, is really good right before the deadline, maybe that can save him, but I don't think the Saints can get a lot in return. At the very, very best, maybe a 6th-round pick. Like, maybe. I think you're better off, like, with a 7th round, and honestly, not even that. You might just want to cut him, to be quite honest. But really quick reminder, if you haven't already, the Who Dat Nation is a family. So I want you to join our family here at Saints Now by Chat Sports. Subscribe today to get more news, rumors, live shows, watch parties, short-form content, daily, like, on-demand videos and everything. And on top of that, you'll get updates about my new dog, Dude. He's an absolute homie. He's rocking the Saints bandana. His color, he's literally black and gold. Like, I'm not kidding. You can see it on his back. He is literally Saints colors, so he bleeds black and gold. And if you do too, and if you think this dog is cute, subscribe today. And if you don't think he's cute, click out of this video and lose my number. Tom Brady style. Break it and throw the phone. Just kidding. Shane, he's a big fan of special teams. I've seen people being a fan of Charlie Smith more than Blake Groupie. What's your thoughts on the kicker and position battle, in the punter position battles? So I think for the kickers and punters, starting with the kickers, it's Blake Groupie's job to lose. He did struggle at times last year, but he also showed really, really good moments, like Week 5 against the Patriots, where he was the NFC Special Teams Player of the Week. It's kind of like a tough read because, like, the very simple kicks that Groupie should have made, he missed. But then some of those tougher ones, he was nailing. So it's kind of weird. And Charlie Smith has a hell of a boot. He has really nice control over the ball. So we'll see how things pan out. We haven't really seen much of Charlie Smith or Matt Hayball at OTAs yet, but that could come, and hopefully we'll see more of that here in the near future. I think Blake Groupie will win. I think, actually, I don't know if Blake Groupie will win. The toss-up for me is Blake Groupie and Charlie Smith, but I could see Lou Hedley winning the punter battle, and maybe they keep one, if not both of those guys, on the practice squad. And plus, I will also add this, Charlie Smith is an International Pathway Program player, so they get an extra spot on the roster, on the 90-man roster. They get an extra spot for him, and don't they get an extra spot on the practice squad, right? I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think that he could still be around on the practice squad if Charlie Smith doesn't win the battle. So, Jerry G, will the Saints win the division this year? It's a toss-up. As confidently and as much as I would love to say yes, it's a toss-up. Like, a lot of things have to go right for New Orleans. Kirk Cousins has to be bad. The Falcons have to continue to exist and be the Atlanta Falcons, which I don't put that past them. They're a garbage team and a garbage franchise. But I also do think that the Bucs are going to be there. Like, I think that they can win it. I think that they will. But to be honest, it is a toss-up still. Like, we don't know a ton about these teams, especially right now. Everyone's getting overhyped. Everyone's running around in their pajamas and a helmet making passes and catches that are getting way overhyped. So will they? I'm going to say yes just because I want to speak it into existence. But I do think that it's going to be a tough path and a tough road ahead for New Orleans. Shane, rumors are that MT13 could come back. What are your thoughts? So I did put out a video about this earlier in the week. It's on the channel. The thumbnail has Michael Thomas, really big picture, and then Marshon Lattimore as well. So if you haven't watched that one, I'll link it in the comments and description. But that's kind of like, I have a long, full explained answer in that. My short answer is maybe he comes back at the end of his career for a last dance type of run, but I don't think that he's coming back anytime soon. I think the bridges have been burned, nuked, destroyed, thrown into the trash compactor, thrown through a wood chipper, and then scattered across a forest to act as fertilizer, if you will. I just don't think that the Saints in this current regime want anything to do with Michael Thomas. Now, there's a different coaching staff the next couple of years. Maybe that changes, but right now in the short term, I don't think Michael Thomas is coming back. I think that era is over. But what era is not over is the era of looking fresh in a Saints hat. So if you want to get yourself a new lid, go to chatsports.com/Saints hats. We got all sorts of really, really cool hats for you. They got trucker caps, they got dad caps, they got golf hats, bucket hats, all sorts of cool stuff. So if you need something to rock by the pool, or rock when you're running down Bourbon Street, or rock at the bar when you're throwing back a couple of cold ones, go to chatsports.com/Saints hats. The link is in the comment section and description of this video. Jackson, that's hilarious. Good picture, by the way. Ricky Jackson, awesome. Would you bring back MT? I mean, it's a little bit different. Would I bring him back? I'm really trying my hardest to not like indulge in the past and in the 2019, 2018 seasons. Like, I'm really trying hard here to say no. Would I? In a couple years, yeah, I would. If the coaching staff is different, if he wants to do one more run, we can pay him vet minimum. Why the hell not? He's just never going to be the player he was when he had 149 receptions. It's just not going to happen. It just won't. I would do it. The fan in me says I would do it, but like, think with your head, be smart, be an analyst, be unbiased, and me says I'm good. I'll pass. So I'm going to go with my heart on this one. I'm okay. I'm going to pass on an MT reunion. Again, maybe in the future, if there's a different coaching staff, a different regime, maybe that's something that we could revisit, but not anytime soon. Mikey Taylor, a legend here on the channel. If Derek Carr gets hurt this season, who starts? Taysom Hill, Jake Haener, or Spencer Rattler? First things first, the Saints do not view Taysom Hill as a quarterback. I know you might view him as a quarterback. I don't. The Saints don't. You shouldn't. That's just what he's not a quarterback, guys. He's a football player. He's one of the best football players in the league. One of the best. Like, when I say one of the best football players, there are not very many people in the league who can play the game of football at any position at as high as a level as Taysom Hill. There's really not that many. I think that Jake Haener is going to be your QB2. Spencer Rattler, let him be your QB3. Let him sit. Let him develop. Let him have no pressure, and let him turn into something great in the future. Taysom Hill is not a quarterback, though. He's a flex player. There's multiple times last year where they could have thrown in Taysom Hill to be the quarterback, and they didn't. I just think that he is a weapon. That doesn't mean he's not going to be lined up as a quarterback. Doesn't mean he's not going to throw the ball. That doesn't mean he's not going to run, do a little QB run action. But he's not the starting quarterback. Like, Taysom Hill is not a starting quarterback. He's not one of the 32 best quarterbacks in the NFL. Not even close. He is not a quarterback. He is a football player. He is a flex football player, and that is okay. But to answer your question, I'm going Jake Haener. Ted Davis, will the Saints sign Hunter Renfrow, and if so, for how much? I think the Saints could sign Hunter Renfrow. Will they? I'm going to lean no. It feels like they would have already done it by now if they were planning on it. But maybe this is one of those things, we get through a couple sessions of OTAs, we get through mandatory mini camp and kind of approach training camp, and you're like, we're missing something. Let's give Renfrow a call. He's got some chemistry and familiarity with our quarterback, so it makes some sense. I will also say, for how much, I wouldn't pay him more than like $2 or $3 million, to be honest. Like, sorry, Jake Chipper. I know he's a Clemson legend, but to be quite honest, I think that he's just, his best days are behind him, but that doesn't mean he still can't be impactful. But if you made it to the end of today's video, you are a real one. So I want to know that you made it to the end of today's video by typing "Stay Golden" down in the comment section. Thank you so much for tuning into our video today. Again, if you missed our coverage on our live show, subscribe, turn on your notifications. We're live every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Central Time. Y'all stay golden. See you next time. All righty. Last chance to get some super chats in. Otherwise, we're gone. $10 super chat. I give my dog a treat when I get home. $50 super chat. We FaceTime my girlfriend. You get to see the dog get a treat right now. That's the deal. That's what we're doing here. So if you want to give my dog a treat, dude, I know he's watching, so he's probably freaking out. Dude. He's such a homie, man. I'm honestly so excited to go see him. Like, I come into work, I'm like, I love being here. I love working. I love the guys. I love the office. I love my job. But there's some time I catch myself in the day being like, damn it, I just want to go pet my dog. I just want to go pet him. Like, nothing crazy. I just want to, give him a little scratch on the noggin, if you will. He's a homie. What'd you say?
He's your kid?
He is my kid. I'm a father. I always was like, when people had dogs, they would be like, I have to go see him every few minutes. I have to go check on him every couple hours. Like, I always freak out when I leave. And I'm like, dude, it's a fucking dog. Like, I get it. They're part of the family, but it's a dog. Like, relax. But now I have a dog. And I'm like, all right, you guys are all idiots. I don't understand how you could even go more than an hour without seeing him. Like, yeah, no, it's the tables have turned, if you will. All right. Looks like no super chats are rolling in to wrap up today's show, but that is A-OK. Programming announcement before we get on out of here. We're actually going to be starting to do some Madden Sims, some simulated games for the Saints season this year. I've been meeting with the bosses. We're figuring out the logistics now. So on these Wednesday live shows, we're going to start having the Madden watch parties be a part of the live show. So I encourage you to start tuning in to more of our live shows. Hang out towards the end if you want to see a live watch party where we'll be hanging out, going crazy like it's game day, but it's just going to be Madden. It's the off season. We're going to have some fun doing this stuff, and just wanted to give you guys some new content and just something different to look forward to on the channel. But that's the announcement. That's kind of the rundown. Buddy Bear saying now everyone is doing Madden Sims. Yeah, Buddy Bear, it's a crazy concept. It worked on one channel, it was really successful, so we're going to implement it as a company on multiple channels. Crazy concept, I know. We're going to be doing that. And Buddy Bear, I hope to see you there because Derek Carr is going to light it up. I'm telling you right now. Derek Carr, I'm speaking into existence. Going to throw for like 10,000 yards and like 600 touchdowns and like maybe 2 interceptions. Just kidding. I can't control the Madden Sims. It's a sim. I'm not playing it. It is a sim. So we'll see you guys on those. We'll see you guys in our next video coming out later. No more super chats have come in. And again, that's totally fine, but we're going to hop on out of here. If you haven't already, before we leave, like the video so my bosses can see that we're doing something right here. Subscribe to the channel so that way I can feed my dog. And y'all stay golden. We'll see you next time. Video coming at you here in a few minutes.